Good. So we are recording, and welcome to this webinar from the OBF Academy about spaces in Open Bash Passport. I'm Eric Roussel. I'm the CEO of Open Bash Factory, and it's a pleasure for me to present the development we have been doing with spaces. So first of all, you see this title, Putting Badges in Action. So perhaps, as you know, we have been 10 years now on the market, developing solutions for open badges. And for us, from the very beginning, it has been very important that badges are not only, I would say, award or reward of something, some kind of certificates that you just get as a passive recipient, but it's very important for us that badge earners, badge recipients can actually also communicate with the badges, can basically put the badges in action. So that's the reason why we have developed Open Bash Passport. And you will see now in the development of Open Bash Passport that we have been a bit going further in this concept of putting badges in action, not only in action for badge recipients, but also in action for organizations issuing badges. But first, to understand what spaces are, I think that the best is to get back to the passport history. So, okay. So how spaces were basically born in Open Bash Passport, what has been the different stage or phases of the evolution of Open Bash Passport. So first of all, the passport was basically launched 10 years ago, about 10 years ago. The idea of Open Bash Passport was to provide a free, open environment that we can call a backpack for individuals, for badge recipients, so that they can receive the badges, store the badges, but also enrich the badges with evidence and create what I call micro portfolios. So the Open Badge Passport, I would say, starting point was to offer a kind of personal space for managing my badges, basically. But very quickly, we understood that badges are much more than I would say credentials. Badges are also connectors. So badges can be recognized, can be endorsed by peer. You can basically also publish your badges, and you can be recognized by the community and so on. So in Open Badge Passport, we developed quite quickly also a second level, I would say, which is a community level dimension in the passport. And in this community, I would say, dimension, we basically make possible for badge recipients to endorse each other, to recognize each other, but also the possibility to display and to show what they have got. And also the possibility to display what we call badge application that can be earned by the community. So this is the community level. And everything was going quite well until some customers say, well, Eric, the passport is great for our badge recipient, but us as an organization, we would like to have some view in this passport about what our community is doing. So we have in Open Badge Passport nearly 700,000 badges. We have more than 200,000 users. So the first issue for organization was that, okay, we can't really see what our community is doing with badges. So the first approach was, I would say, to create a filter area so that this community could see what their community is doing with the badges, but I will explain also that very quickly we had some customers who wanted to go a bit further and to basically, I would say, use the space not only as a place where you can see what the community has been doing, but also a place where you could basically set up objectives and scaffold some learning activities. So that's the new dimension here, the third dimension. But as you see, these three dimensions are all articulated around the learner. So the basic philosophy in Open Batch Passport is everything at the end is basically centered um, around the learner. Okay, so we go to the first, I would say, definition of what is a space. The first step was that the space is a branded passport inside the generic passport, okay, dedicated to some OBF customers, badge earner community. So, for example, I can give you some example. We have some universities that basically wanted the space so that the student can basically go straight, not only in Open Batch Passport, go straight into the space. And then in the space, you have, I would say, a community view, which is filtered around these organizations. You can see only the student of this university. You can see the badges that has been earned by these students, and you can follow what is happening there. So, but it's a branded, dedicated space. Okay, and what is also has been done a bit later, it's an environment for scaffolding learning through badges. So the idea in the space that you can basically set up different kind of pathways that you can suggest or assign to your community of badges. And then you can also see what happens in this community, how learners progress, okay, and how they basically engage and progress in this kind of personalized pathway. So I will show you that. I would say that for a long time, our customers were more interested about the first level, which was the branded passport, just to have something like Open Batch Passport, but with a brand of the organization, and something which was a bit quite, I would say, static, you know. But we started some years ago to work with the Ministry of Education of Luxembourg with a big project related to digital sciences. And in this project, they had the need to basically provide a quite wide batch system to 40 schools in Luxembourg. And the solution that we developed was that every school in Luxembourg got its own space, and inside the space, the teacher can basically review the badge application and all the activities that the learners do with badges. So I will get back also to this concept. And I would say what is interesting also in spaces, it's a batch-first learning environment. So we often speak about competency-based learning and in education, but with badges, often badges are only issued as some outcome, as some credential after some training, which is, in my opinion, is not a very competency-based learning approach. In the competency-based learning approach, basically the idea that you have an approach which is based in skills and competencies, in recognizing them, so that the badges are very good for that. But here, the idea with the space was to go for a batch first approach, meaning that the badges will be used for making visible to learners what they should master, what are the objectives, and what they have been achieving. So the badge is not coming at the end of the process. The badge is more like, I would say, the driver or the starting point of the process. So for explaining a bit what is this badge first approach, the idea is basically to use the badge as a learning tools and not only as a marker of some achievement. Okay, so if you see on the right side, I have some workflow here to explain what I mean. Usually, in many traditional, I would say, credential approach, there is for some reason always some training somewhere. So you have the starting point is more about the mode of acquisition. So you have a training or you have some workshop, and after this, I would say, initial activity has been completed, then you have the completion stage where you get basically the badge because you have aligned or you have complied to some criteria. So now in the space, the idea that we use basically the badges to be beacon, or I would say goal indicators. So basically, the badges are kind of proposals, kind of indicators, beacon, or whatever you call them, starting points, and the badge basically can be earned in many ways. So then you have the mode of acquisition is coming at the second stage. You know what I mean? It's coming after the badge in a way. And after that, when the process is completed, the process can be a peer recognition. It could be that someone has applied to a badge. It could be some prior learning that you have already, which is recognized, or it could be a training. Why not? A workshop or what you want. But at the end, you basically, as a learner, you achieve the process, and then you get the badge. Okay, so the badge is at the beginning and at the end of the process. So here, the idea is to think about the badges not only as, I would say, marker of some completion, but also marker of, I would say, pathways, a way to I would say, direct you or to set up, I would say, pathways in a learning concept. Secondly, as I said, the idea here is to support competency-based learning. And so the idea here, of course, that the badge is expressing very strongly that it's a question of skills and competencies. It's not only a question of achievement. Okay, you are aiming for, some skills, some competencies. The other possibility is also to use the badges to scaffold and structure different kind of pathways, and these pathways can be personalized. So you will see that it's possible in the space to basically suggest or assign badges to different groups based on some, it could be a different kind of professional needs, or it could be a career, or it can be learning activities, but you can have different kind of, I would say, programs, I would say, for different learners. What is also very central in the space concept is that we use here very much what we call badge application. Badge application, which is a very popular feature in Open Badge Factory, mean that badges are not sent automatically, I would say, delivered or pushed to the learners, but badges are basically, you can apply, or the learner can apply by basically providing some evidence about his learning, apply for the badge, and will receive the badge after some assessment. Okay. And then the badges also are learning records, which is very interesting because then you can use the badges not only for, I would say, directing learners in different directions. You can also see what has been achieved. So you can use them for, I would say, tracking the process of the learner. And then you can also analyze the data to understand if your badge strategy is working or not. So you can see in the space what are the outcomes of your program, if it's a training, or of your strategy in HR or whatever you want. So you can see, okay, if you have a goal of that all your students should get some badge program done before Christmas, and if you see that there is only 30% that has completed it, so it means that you have something to change, or you have to take some actions for achieving the goals. Okay, let's go to next. Okay, so what is interesting here, it's that we have a very flexible structure in the spaces, which make possible to support really different kind of use cases. What is important now, it's that we have developed, it was not in the first version of the spaces. So the first version of the space was quite plain, that there was only, I would say, a place where the community can receive badges, and that's all. Now, in the new version, you can create roles inside the space, and these roles can be basically tailored just based on your need, based on different kind of capabilities. So you can set up a role for reviewers, you can set up a role for administrators if you want, or for teachers. You can just choose what kind of capability you want to assign to these roles. One other thing which is important in the new structure of the spaces are groups. So here, this diagram show you basically how space and OBF works. So you can see in the left side that basically every badge which is used in the space are coming from the OBF Pro environment. Okay, so you can see badges and badge application. Both can be, I would say, share, I would say publish or assign to different kind of badge, I would say, or members of the space. So you could even assign a badge to one specific member if you want, to one group, or to every members in the space. Okay, you have several possibilities here. And you can also, based on these badges, build what we call minimaps, which are graphic pathways where you can basically connect different kind of badge or badge application to these pathways, and then you will be able to present these pathways to your learners, and you will be able to follow also and to track what is happening in these pathways. And here, for example, you see this reviewer on the right side. The reviewer, if the reviewer has the right to review badge applications or to see statistics, he will be, or she will be able to basically see all what is happening in the space. So now what is interested with group, that you can also set up roles for members inside the group. So this was a big challenge with EduPass, which is this big passport for the School of Luxembourg. The big, I would say, challenge was that, as I told you, they had 40, or they have 40 schools, and but in every school is basically independent, so they should not see each other. Schools are closed, I would say, spaces. They don't see each other, and inside each school, you have groups. Inside each space, you have groups for classrooms. Okay. And the big challenge here was that only the teacher of the classroom should be able to review the badge application of his own students. So it was basically forbidden for to have this kind of situation where the teacher of the classroom A would see in the space uh, the students of the classroom B. Okay, so we solve this problem by setting up, I would say, roles not only at space level but also at group level. So here you can see uh, when here basically some badges are published, they can be published, as I said, to a single member. Okay, and then the reviewer, which is who is reviewer at space level, will be able to review the badge application of this member. But here you see on the bottom that you can also assign badges or badge application to a group. And in this case, only the reviewer of this group will be able to review the badge application of the group, which is very good because then you have this kind of, I would say, closed area where the reviewing activities are very limited to some bunch of students. Okay, so I think we saw this one. I went in the wrong direction. Okay, so how does it work? Basically, for normal, I would say, users. So normal users, they could be students, for example, university students. Um, they the space can be connected using SSO to the organization. For university, we have Shibboleth SSO, EduGain, but it can be also connected to Microsoft SSO solution. So the idea that the student will, or the employee will click a link, and after clicking the link, he or she will arrive to a login page which is branded for the organization. Okay? And as a learner, as a member of the space, he or she will see, I would say, a quite simple view where the idea here, so we have a dashboard that we can put into mode. There is this community mode, and this community mode will not basically focus on any learning activities, but be more kind of gallery about the badges that has been earned by the community. But if you put this dashboard in project mode, then you will see basically this space more like a learning environment, where as a learner, you can see basically the badges application that you have been submitting. You can see your objectives, so how much work you are doing now in this space with different kind of badges or mini maps, and the badges that you have earned. And here you can see, I would say, a program or a list of the badge application that you can earn. And this has been basically the only way for EduPass project in Luxembourg to really get the project working, because we basically, before to use the spaces and the passport, they created a lot of badge application, and every student had to choose first his school and his classroom, and then based on that, all the badge applications were reviewed using Open Badge Factory. As you can guess, some teachers never got the email, some teachers didn't do the job. So it was basically quite impossible to manage the whole system. But using the space, this made things very easy. So with the space, student will find a minimum of information. What I could do is to show you very quickly how it looks really for students. So you can see here, I'm Daniel. Daniel just log in the system, and let's say it can be a 12 years old kid or whatever you want, but then it's very simple. You can see the application submitted by me and my badges. And here, if you,
Eric,
yeah,
We
please.
can't see.
You
yeah,
can
we
see.
still see the slide.
Okay, that's perhaps I will share again. Okay. Mm, okay, share. I think it was this one. Yeah, when I change. Okay, can you see now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. So for the EduPass project, which, as I say, has been a very important project because it has been a kind of, I would say, we have been working in collaboration with the customer, and we have been, seeing what kind of issue they had, and the students are, I would say, between 12 and 16 year olds. So the idea was to make it very easy. So making easy means here that you basically, as a learner, you just see what you need to see. So you have your dashboard, and here you can see your badge application. And I just click the badge application here, and I can just write here, this is a test. Okay. I don't need to give my name or my email address. I just add the badge application and just submit this application. Okay. And now this badge application has been submitted. And as you see, what is very interesting also, and it's something which is very often missing with any badge platform, because badge platforms are very much, I would say, focusing on the organization, on the badge team, which will issue badges. Of course, you can always see reports about how many badges will be issuing to how many people, blah, blah, but it's often quite quantitative. But here, as a learner, I can see all the badge application I've been sending, and I can see the status of my badge application. So this, for example, first step community engagement has been approved, so I can open it, and I can see it has been reviewed by Michel Chambert on some date, and something like that. So I have an history of my learning, and this is very, in my opinion, very interesting, and it was something was missing basically with, I would say, only if you use only Open Badge Factory. And here you could also click minimaps and go for minimaps and start to apply for badges here in your minimap. Okay, so it's very simple. So I will switch to one other window, but I hope that I will probably have to reshare it. So, okay, so next try, I just disconnect, and I'll show you the other window. Okay. Sorry for that. It's a bit tricky. I didn't know that it's not following the different windows. So I guess you can see this window. And this now it's showing you Fabio, which is Fabio is basically, I would say, space manager. So you will see that Fabio has much more, and we will go more in details when I get back to my slides. But you can see that here you have, of course, some management tools. You can see how many days you have left in the space, how many members you have, how many batch application have been submitted, and the status of this batch application. But you can see here that the application submitted by me, but you can see also the application that you have to review. So if you click review application here, where Fabio doesn't have anything to review because he's only a group, I would say, reviewer, and in his group nothing has been done. But if he would be a space level reviewer, he would see every batch application sent to basically the teacher. And Fabio, of course, have stats to see batch application information and so on. Okay, so we jump back to my slides. Sorry for that. Okay. Sometimes a bit tricky to jump from. Okay, so it was what I was showing you, but I like always to go a bit live and show you how things work. So, but basically what you can do as a learner in the space, you can have your overview of your activity. You can apply for badges. You can engage in learning pathways. I show you mini-maps. You can of yourself track all your objectives because everything you do in a space or in the passport goes to your objective. So you have a personal list of objectives that you can track and you can follow what you've been doing. And you can also interact with other members. I will get back to this interaction with other members because for the moment it's a bit limited. And I will explain what we are doing for basically developing this interaction between members. But here interaction means that you will see the other members' badges that have been earning. You will see also the pages that we can call micro portfolios. Okay, so you have a community view inside the space, but as I said, we will increase a bit the interaction that you can have in the community. Okay, and as I show you, you click the badge application, you can fill in straight away, and it goes to a teacher. And here you can follow your, I would say, working history with your badges, your program, and see what kind of feedback you get from your teacher or from your reviewer. So from a technical point of view, the space is totally synchronized with Open Badge Factory, meaning that reviewers can also review the same badge application in Open Badge Factory. But in the space, the idea here that you can engage, you can basically invite in a space this kind of teachers or tutor or mentors or whatever you want who don't need to access Open Badge Factory. Open Badge Factory is more a place for designing badges. It's more the badge team area. But here you could have 50 teachers working in the space and they don't have to access Open Badge Factory. But here it's much accurate if you want to share the work between reviewers, or if you want to put your learners in different kind of groups and assign different kind of badges. You can do it easily with a space. It would require much more work if you would do it with Open Badge Factory. So this is the badge application. Sorry, the minimap. So this pathway I show you, and you can see also that in the minimap, the learner can also see what he or she has been completing. For example, Luigi can see here that already 3 badges have been earned in this metro map, like would say pathway. And objectives didn't make a lot of sense some years ago, and some customers say, well, why do we have basically objectives in Open Badge Passport? Because the passport is more like a repository or a place where a backpack, a place where I receive badges. I don't understand why we should have these objectives. Now with Spaces, it makes sense, because in Spaces, you engage in some pathway, in some program, and as I show you, you have the possibility to follow basically what you have been doing with badge application, but you have also the possibility with objective to see also what you are doing with different kind of milestone badge. For example, here the first mentoring expert is a milestone badge, and you can see that you are at 70%. So you have still to get one. Okay. And here you can see that you have the learning community map. I can see, okay, I've been starting at 20%. I've still to work on that. And in my objectives, I basically get also some notification. So we could have some deadlines defined. Here there is no deadline, but if there is a deadline defined, the learner will get some notification about the fact, okay, you have to only 20 days, please, go on with your objective. So now, if we have a look on the how to assess and manage members' activities, so more, I would say, the space manager view here. I already show you when I share the window with you that the space manager a lot of much more rights, but these rights are basically based on capabilities and roles. So as I explained, you can really create the roles that you want in the space. And they usually, let's say, space manager with reviewer rights can review badge application submitted by the members. They can, of course, view statistics and report and track progress. They can publish badges and minimaps, so they can build these pathways using the badges coming from the OBF environment. And they can assign and monitor objectives, so which is an important feature here. So here you see, if you know Open Badge Factory, you see a view which is very much a view that you have in Open Badge Factory for reviewing badge application. So you can issue badge, you can return a badge application for revision if it's not good enough, or you can reject an application. So, and then you can also, for all these badge application, you can see the statistics. So you can track the progress here, and you can filter by groups. So for example, as I said in EduPass in Luxembourg, they have for, let's say, each school, I don't know, something like 20 or 30 different kind of groups. The teacher of each group can basically see, can track what happened in his group. So he or she can only see what is in the group, but the manager will be able to filter for the whole school if you want. And then here you can, here is a view where the badge, I would say, issuer here can select badges or badge application in the OBF account and assign this badge application to learners, or build also minimaps with these badges. And here you can see that The badge can be published to selected users. So when I spoke about the competency-based learning, you can have different kind of profiles. The groups can be profiles, let's say IT student, you can marketing students, and then you can assign different kind of badges to different kind of groups. And what is very interesting, in my opinion, in space is also that you can set up what we call space level objectives. And the idea of the space level objectives, for example, here, if you look at the mentoring expert, is that you have this here set up that 60% of the audience, 60% of the members of the space, meaning here 8 users, which is quite strange because you can see 13 here, but we'll have to complete to get this badge before the 27th of March. Okay. Sorry, it started on the 27th. I'm sorry, it started on the 27th. Here there is no deadline, but you can see the other one also is that becoming a community tutor here. It's there is one other badge, and then here it's said that 100% of the members should get this badge here, and you can see here that only 3 has completed it. And you can follow at the weekly activity of the completion of this objective. So you can see how the learners or the members are progressing with this objective. You can have 2 kind of objectives, optional objectives, meaning that, okay, if you are interested, you can engage in this objective. So you can accept it or reject it. So, you have mandatory objective. And in this case, in mandatory objective, you can't really reject it. So it will go in your personal objective and you have to do it. Okay, sorry for this typo here, but what kind of use cases are could we support with spaces? So first, if you think about education, professional education, or even higher education, what the space can provide, it's first of all to make the learning visible. So as I said, in many cases, badges are used for rewarding people, for rewarding learners. You see statistics about how many badges have been sent, but you don't really see anything about the activity of the learner at community level. And the space is very much flipping this approach. So it's a badge first and a community first approach, and you can deploy some, I would say, learning activities in the community, but the community is a starting point. As I said before, I personally see that this badge first approach is very much supporting this competency-based learning. As I said before at the beginning of my presentation, competency-based learning is quite popular in many countries. But for some reason, it seems that there is often some very traditional, I would say, training first approach. Okay, so the badge is really, I would say, a great opportunity to start with, I would say, goals on skills and competencies, because you can basically communicate with the badge what competencies or what skills are basically required, and then you can get the learners to engage in this direction. Personalized learning journey. As I explained, you can really suggest or assign badges to different learners. It can be very, very personalized. You have also what is very interesting with a group. I didn't speak about that, but you have a dynamic transitions based on badges and group, meaning that you can be as a learner, let's say, in the group A, and in the group A, you will have to complete three badges, about some basic things. And then when you have got these three badges, you will be moved automatically to the group B with one other basically program. And when you will complete what you have in the group B, you will move to one other group. So you can use the group for transition, and you can use the group for different kind of, I would say, topics and programs. And also, as I say, with groups and with roles, you can really set up very, very different kind of, I would say, of learning activities. One other interesting approach is that you can, with spaces, you can connect several OBF accounts to one space. So in this case, the space can be a place which is hosting a community composed by different communities. So you can have, I would say, a network space with different communities, and inside this community, you can build minimaps, you have seen, or you can propose different kind of pathways which are basically built with the badges of several OBF accounts, which is a bit what you can do in with OpenBash Factory, because in OpenBash Factory you can share badges with other accounts. Okay, so and we have, for example, in Finland, kind of big national project which has been basically designing a badge system which is used by many universities and professional schools. But here you could just do the same by just publishing the badge of several OBF environments or accounts inside this network space. So here the idea of to have this kind of, I would say, wide community approach. It could be good for region, for example. In France, they have a lot of, I would say, badge activities at region level, like Badgeon la Normandie, or Badgeon la Bretagne, or Badgeon. There is many big, I would say, project at the local or regional level, but it could be also between associations. Also, associations could work together in the same space. So you can build what we call hybrid learning pathways, and of course, then you have also the possibility to track what is happening here. And what is interesting, you can track even the badges are coming from different OBF environment or account. You can see basically the statistic for the space, for all the space member in one place. So you don't have to get the statistic from different OBF accounts and to basically merge them, but you can see all that in the space. Okay, and human resources. So we are now working with some customers on an HR approach using spaces. So I would say spaces are not perhaps for big, businesses, big companies, because they have often their own HR systems, and so it's very difficult to convince them that, okay, you could set up something with badges. But spaces could be used for HR purpose in organizations where you have a very, sorry, a very, I would say, not centered, uh, structure, let's say universities, inside university, you have teachers, lecturers, you have people who are basically coming and leaving all the time. So it's very difficult to have some static HR system which can capture really what kind of skills and competencies these teachers have. So you can use basically space for deploying this kind of HR program inside, in my opinion, a school or university, but also I'm thinking about associations, bigger associations, working often in a, I would say, network mode. Okay, here, well, what you can do with a space, it's what you can do with badges. Leverage and celebrate skills development. Okay, you could have an onboarding, for example, space. Onboarding space with proposing all the badges which are important for the organization. Security badges, how to use the values of the company, how to use the basic system of the company, all these kind of things. But what is also interesting in the space, let's say that you have an onboarding environment space, you could have, a general onboarding, I would say, badge system, but you could have also an onboarding badge system for marketing people. Okay, it could be a group marketing, it could be IT people, it could be, I would say, technician, and for each group, you could basically propose additional badges to the basic, uh, general onboarding badges. So the idea here is to help the employees to identify and develop the core competencies of the organization. It's, as I said, you can have different of career journeys and tailors, and you can support employees by setting us also different kind of goals. So it's not only onboarding, but you could have different kind, I would say, level or expectation. And again, there is this basically tracking and supporting and assessing possibilities, and you can measure also the effectiveness of your badge strategy. So in my opinion, it's something which is missing totally when we speak about badges and badge strategy. I don't know for the moment any customers who can really measure the impact of the badge strategy, for example, in a HR area. So here you could say, okay, we have some onboarding badges, important badges like the security badge, for example. This security badge should be earned or should be, uh, to completed or earned by every new employee in 3 months. That's where we can do that with the space and see, okay, do we have a gap here? Do we have an issue? Do we have to basically communicate better, or do we have to organize some training for the employees and so on? So the space and using badges here is not only basically proposing something and okay, let's say people are happy because they get some badges. It's also a way to understand how we are progressing with competency in our organization. Okay, next step in our development, and I will stop in a few minutes, and I hope that you have some questions. So we had some feedback from 2 or 3 customers, university customers in Finland, and they say, well, it's great, but what would be good is that the students can basically build their own learning pathways. So they can do it now because, well, you can see, let's say, the 70 badges of digital sciences. You are not forced to basically complete all the program. You can, okay, say, I want to do these 5 or 10 badges. But it's, for the moment, you don't have really a nice way to group this, to build your own program, to have your favorites. So we will develop this possibility to have my program. So you have what is proposed, but you can pick what you want and then put that in your program. It's like my objectives, basically, but making it visible in the dashboard. And now it's very important, interesting, sorry. We have been, some years ago, I remember I was discussing with some customers who use a lot the passport, and they say, really, we don't need really interaction in the passport because the community of the passport of the 200,000 users is not really a community of practice where people need to to discuss or to share ideas. They just show the badges, get some endorsement, and that's all. It's not a social media platform. But now that we have customers starting with this new version of the space, they say, wow, it would be great now if we would have more, I would say, interaction between the members of the space. And so we are planning to develop a discussion board in the space. We're also planning to make endorsement easier in the space, that you could, first of all, select the members which are in your space for endorsements. And we are also thinking a bit more, I would say, less teacher-centric or trainer-centric, because now you have seen that the trainer is very much, or the manager is very much seeing everything, is like the big brother in the system. But for example, for the space level objectives, now only space managers or people who have the right can basically see it, see what is happening, but we could in the future publish this space level objective to the community, so that the community would see, okay, the goal is to have the badge security before Christmas, and the community would say, okay, we are not here yet. So it would be like a leaderboard, the idea of a leaderboard of challenging the community using this. So making visible things that the teachers can already see, but have a less teacher-centric approach here. About the feature, we are working now with a concept of meta group, which is very important for a big French project that we have now. The idea is to have a parallel pathways for 16 different regions in the world. So having a progression from different kind of level, but this progression and this level should not basically interact with each other. So the idea of the meta group, that is a group where you can pick different groups inside the meta group and set up rules on how the learners progress from one group to another group. And there are different kind of rules here. It's a bit technical, sorry. And then one other idea, a good idea, easy to implement, is to have also in the dashboard categories to group the badges that we propose to learners by topics or program. Okay, so you could have a IT tab. When you click the IT tab, you would see only the badge for the IT topic, and you could have the marketing or whatever you want. So using topics also in the dashboard. One other plan is to be able to direct learners from the badge to some learning management system, for example. So now we use very much batch applications, which are basically internal to Open Batch Factory, internal to the space. But you can have, as you know, in Open Batch Factory, badges, which are basically when you click the badge, they are not batch application, they are just redirecting you to a website or to a MOOC or to a Moodle course or whatever you want. So this is not working yet in the space, and we are going to implement this feature that you could go from the badge to the training, and from the training, you would get the badge in the space. Communication tools, I already explained that we have some plans about that. And endorsement in the space context. We will also improve minimaps. We have got a very good, I would say, feedback and development, I would say, suggestions about the minimap. So we will push in this direction, and we will also try to deliver more notifications to different kind of learners based on the activities in the space. So, so if you have to review a badge application, or if you have got some badge or all these kind of things, part of them are already here, but perhaps we need to be a bit more talkative here in this area. Okay, sorry for this long webinar. We went a bit over time. Do you have any questions? I will stop the recording, and then we can start with a question.
Eric, there are some questions on the chat.
Yes, we look at it. I'm just looking for ending this recording. Yes. Stop recording.